Now, for an original video on this topic that everybody has already made an amazing handful of theories on, or at least perspectives on, the NFL is buck breaking Shedeur Sanders for Dion because they can't directly get to Dion. And I'm going to go be the one to say all the things that aren't supposed to be said. It's a group of, it's not one, it's a group of either executives, leaders, owners that have come together and hate Dion and hate what he's doing. And also they hate the fact that after all that they've said about him at Colorado, him at Jackson State, he's proved him wrong. And the only thing he does, instead of talking directly to the haters, is says, "Thank you, Jesus, for giving me an opportunity to keep going. Thank you, Jesus, for giving me an opportunity to win." How crazy is that? He doesn't even look at his haters. He looks up. He says, "You know what? That's the devil working dark magic. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to keep on believing in Jesus." And somehow, and he's there for his son. His son isn't a degenerate fuck like a bunch of these kids in the NFL and the NBA. He supports his son through opportunities. He makes sure that his son isn't getting fucked like you like to fuck other fatherless boys' kids, whether it's literally or figuratively, in these plantation systems and the athletic organizations. Nobody wants to talk about that. I'll talk about it. Oh, do you guys want to talk about how many of these football players with white girlfriends are actually being financially funded by the parents of that white girlfriend until they get to the league? And then the return on investment is a black baby is going to come out of that white. You guys don't think, though. You guys don't fucking think. Where is Shedeur's issues with baby mamas? Where is Shedeur's issues with taking drugs and being strung out or DUIs on the road? Stetson Bennett didn't everybody look up Stetson Bennett right now. Please let Stetson Bennett be the search of this fucking video. But, oh, and also another thing that ties me into this, knowing that it's buck breaking and it's just pure like racism. You guys hate having conversations about slavery and all that. Very fitting, because what I'm about to tell you is about to scare the fuck out of you. Yeah, these slave masters were not just assaulting women. Children and men were also a part of that. This is the buck-breaking process I'm speaking about. And what's very disgusting, before I say interesting, because that's not interesting, what's very disgusting about this circumstance is that there's a different reason for assaulting and abusing each role, because it's not the assault that you're trying to use to destroy the psyche of the person. Bodily damage is just the in-between to what the goal is of the abuser in this circumstance. The abuser wants you, the victim, to remember what your role is. I apologize I didn't give a trigger warning beforehand, but now we're getting into a conversation about SA. Again, this isn't proven fact, but as somebody who studies power dynamics and toxicity and narcissism, one of the very aligning perspectives that I've been able to catch in my research and understanding of these topics is the abuser, even if they say, I didn't know how to control myself. Shut the fuck up. You're an adult, bro. The point is, you are less than me, so I can dominate you. And now, once I've dominated you, you are less than human. So you deserve this. To take responsibility off of me from wanting you to be 6 feet under while you walk with your 10 toes on the same land that I have to walk on. To cure my insecurity of not being able to get you or to access you the righteous way, for being rejected by you. But it's a power fucking play. And now let's tie that conversation, the one that you guys never want to have, back into the buck breaking of Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders legacy. When we play the game fair, and this is funny, now I'm going to add in how it's funny how like white people love talking about DEI and how like we as black people don't earn shit. The second the game isn't going your way and it starts to hurt your feelings, you rig the whole thing from the back end. But this, again, it's to remind black people everywhere, to remind the Sanders family specifically, and to point through Dion's kid directly at Dion in the face in the most disgusting, subtle form of like lifestyle sabotage ever. Say, remember, you and your whole family of animals are just niggers to us. Sorry I had to use the word, but this is how they speak. And you know why I know they use these words behind closed doors? Because I don't know if you guys saw that one meeting, or not even a meeting, it was a dinner, that the donors, the top level donors and investors of the NFL organization were holding. You know what was weird about that dinner? Other than the fact that all of the families and the invitees were white, all the servers were stars in the NFL. But you know what was similar about them? They were all black, serving. And what is the point of that? The psychological warfare in that is, remember who the fuck you are. You may have $1 million, you may have a mansion, you may have the baddest girl on the block. We don't give a fuck. Your salvation comes from us. And the second you even as much as snarl at the hand that feeds you, we will beat you to a fucking pulp. But we won't kill you. We're going to leave you within an inch of your life, so you know that we are the only people that can bring you back. And we won't even bring you back. We will just allow you to come back to life so we can continue to do this and then create the most disgusting inner psychological destruction to get you to perpetuate the abuse of your abuser in your own mind, destroying your own life, blocking your own blessings and opportunities, while your abuser can now go find new prey because you are taken care of. And they don't have to take care of you. You can take care of yourself while they're going finding other people to manipulate and abuse into taking care of themselves in that same way. Now, I'm not going to tell us to stop playing football, I'm not going to tell us to stop playing football or sports, but American sports that are like paid are just like this. And I hope that we can start to realize that we can create just as amazing opportunities, creating our own leagues, running our own communities, like doing our own shit. Because at the end of the day, it's not even the NFL that matters or any of these sports leagues. It's about attention. It's about selling ads, maintaining attention. Half of the games are rigged anyway. It doesn't even fucking matter because it's all about gambling at the end of the day. And if it's not about gambling, it's about protecting the entertainment nature of the league. And one thing that we, again, not one thing, but another thing that we don't want to address in our society is that there is, I'm going to believe now, a much more significant aspect of this than I wanted to believe beforehand. But with Trump going into office, I think that was just like the green card for a lot of you red hat people to remind us that you're racist as fuck. And holding you to account to not be racist is more difficult for you than you just not being racist and being able to exist with the rest of us, where you're like, your humanity isn't stemmed from like stepping on the throats and necks of everybody outside of you because you're so afraid and hating of them, but you don't know why. Final 2 points we'll leave off with here. The entertainment nature that I'm speaking about in America specifically is racism. And if you black people or marginalized people, the sooner you wake up to that, the more you realize how much you are a part of the joke that's being laughed at, and you aren't even being compensated for being laughed at or abused at sometimes. So you might as well start finding the relationships, the communities, the opportunities that provide you some kind of mutual benefit for the inevitable and the inherent value that we put out, rather than continuing to seek for validation, acceptance from people who were literally, look at Pete Hegseth. These people are DEI as fuck. Like, none of these certifications matter. None of their tests, none of their experiment, like nothing they do matters. They're just going to look in the mirror, or no, they're just going to look at the fucking options they have to pick from, see somebody that looks like them and somebody that doesn't, and they're going to pick the person that looks like them, even if that person has the potential of blowing up a school, bro. Over the person who will have every single, if not more, qualifications met for whatever that position is. American racism will be the downfall of itself as long as the people who the racism is being projected onto just give up and let America itself. It's ignorance at the end of the day, and ignorance decays any living thing, bro, under its own two fucking hands, bro. It's like a starving baby that just doesn't eat and then dies of starvation. Not that it's the baby's fault, but it's like, Dude, like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? Like, food is gonna like show up in your belly?
I know y'all don't like what I'm about to say.
Wow, hello.
Most of these NFL owners is well into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. They been drafting niggas longer than you been alive. And one thing about a rich NFL owner, he specializes in niggas. He know everything about an athletic nigga. He know what he like in middle school. They know everything. They done called everybody and got the report sheet on this nigga. Cause they finna get this nigga a lot of money and they finna bring this nigga into the plantation. The family's business. The Jones family, whatever name of the family. So they gonna get to meet the daughter, especially if he a face of the organization type nigga. So we gonna bring this nigga in here.
Jerry, your thoughts on the Washington Post article and how the picture they painted of you from a picture when you were 14 years old?
Yeah, that was, 60, 65 years ago, and a curious kid. I didn't know at the time the monumental event, really, that was going on, and I'm sure glad that we're a long way from that. I am, and we just that would remind me just continue to do everything we can to not have those kinds of things happen.
Any regrets just being in the photo, being there at all?
What?
Any regrets on being in the photo, being there at all?
Well, I wouldn't have just dug that up for sure.
Right.
I mean, seriously, but that was curiously.
Well, I just finished this series, and the first thing I noticed was like it was so many white girls, and then the second thing I noticed was the first people they were cutting were the black and brown girls. I don't know, y'all, what y'all think.
So yesterday I was watching the NFL draft, and a lot of black guys got picked in the first round. But do y'all know all them black guys who got picked in the first round yesterday had a white girl sitting at their table, a white woman sitting at their table representing them. No sisters. It was no sisters with these guys when they got drafted. This is where we headed? Once you get success, you just automatically just leave the sister out? I mean, is this a trend now? Is this a trend? Because every one of them who stood up and hugged their family, it was a white girl right there. I just don't know where this shit is heading, man. Like, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. It's some great goddamn sisters out here that could have been sitting at that table with y'all yesterday. It's a lot of great black women out here, man. But it seems like once y'all get a taste of that success, man, the first thing y'all go do is run and go get y'all a white girl, man. You know, you can love who you can love. I'm okay with that. But to see all them black men yesterday not have a sister at the table with them, not have a high school girlfriend at the table with them, not have a childhood girlfriend at the table with them, but a white girl. But this what success is, man, to these black guys, man. I'm telling y'all. Once they get a little fame, get a little money, get a little success, they gonna get them a white girl immediately and just erase the sisters from their lives, man. It was just sad to see, man. I'm not against who you don't love and all. I'm just saying, not one sister, brothers, not one sister at the table yesterday. 32 draft picks, not one sister. Shit is fucking insane, man.
And y'all are our niggas. With all your athletic talent, agility, and ability, it belongs to us. When I retire your jersey, nigga, your people can't claim fame to that name. It's in my stadium. I bring my family, my friend, and say, look at my niggas. Look at the boy, Bob, remember that nigga there? He was in the ghetto. I brought him and drafted him from the ghetto. He's on ESPN now. These are bragging rights, and these niggas are trophies to rich white men who own nigga, man. It's no different.
Look at my niggas.
Man, you don't think they do that when they be in them boxes? That's my nigga. Look at him. Look at him. I brought him out the ghetto. His mama didn't have a husband. I went down there and met him. He just say, man, I met Business. They had roaches. Nigga, you think they don't be saying that? They're my niggas. Look at him. Go, nigga. You don't think they don't be saying, Jerry Jones, them don't be saying that? These are bragging rights, and these niggas are trophies to rich white men who own nigga, man. It's no different.
That shit in perspective. Look at my niggas.
Man, you don't think they do that when they be in them boxes? That's my nigga. Look at him. Look at him. I brought him out the ghetto. His mama didn't have a husband. I went down there and met him. He just say, man, I met Business. They had roaches. Nigga, you think they don't be saying that? They're my niggas. Look at him. Go, nigga. You don't think they don't be saying, Jerry Jones, them don't be saying that? These my niggas. I changed his life.
No, when you put in perspective like that's low key the truth.
Homie, why you think they only bring certain players around their families? All players don't get to come around. Why you think they got a franchise player? I got a franchise tag on this nigga. This my nigga. Why you think when LeBron left Cleveland, that white man called him like a runaway slave? Nigga, my nigga done run away. This my nigga. He come out of granted, my nigga. Nigga, come on back home. LeBron, back to Cleveland. Nigga, you got to come back anyway. Where you want to retire? Akron or L.A.? Every nigga want to come back home.
I was saying the only true way to create change is through revolution.
What would create change if all the NFL players say, nigga, we ain't playing football this year.
Yeah.
Nigga, fuck, we ain't playing. Let them go get a bunch of white boys. And they go try to find walk-on warehouse workers and forklift drivers and FedEx drivers. And it ain't no more fast-running niggas that can catch the ball with one hand. It ain't no more niggas that can juke a nigga, spin around, juke. It ain't no more of them kind of niggas. It's just a white boy that can pocket throw the ball. It's just all white boys. No speed, no agility, all fundamentals. The game go be boring. They need them niggas. But them niggas don't know if they said, nigga, we sitting out this year. We finna go play, throw up tackle. If niggas did that, then nigga, we would cripple the NFL.
This is a moral issue that needs to be addressed today. When in 1946, when the NFL was forced to reintegrate, because from 1933 to 1945, the all-white NFL didn't want any blacks in the industry. They said the black players were slowing down its growth. And then Fritz Pollard developed the Negro Football League. And after World War II, there was a big push for the Negro League to compete with the all-white NFL. So what they did was they took the good players from the Negro League and integrated them into the all-white NFL. And now, since 1946, the black players have taken it to $1 billion plus market, yet we have no owner within the industry. We are the record breakers and the trendsetters, yet we have no voice within the industry. NFL owners are guaranteed profits annually without even a fan going into the stadium, yet players have no guaranteed contracts. This is plantation capitalism going on right now.
NFL might have the craziest racial history of all American sports. It's so crazy they had to be integrated twice. So in the 1920s, the NFL tolerated black players, meaning they kept some in the league, but never more than 2 on a team, and some teams didn't even have the common decency to do that. Until one day, league ownership decided to cut their whole black labor force to a whopping 0. An alleged gentleman's agreement, their words not mine, was struck between the teams to keep black players out the league, and this agreement held for about 12 years. Now, the league historically has denied that this agreement ever existed, but let's examine our sources, shall we? Bears founder George Halas, who is directly quoted as saying, "He'd never play on a team with a on it again," after Fritz Pollard and co. put the belt to him and his Bears. Giants founder Tim Mara, whose team until this very day has never employed a black head coach, and fired the whole front office and coaching staff the one time they accidentally started a black QB. And finally, Washington founder George Preston Marshall, notorious racist, who purposely changed his team name to a racial slur, made sure said team was the last to employ a black player, saying, quote, "I will sign black players when the Harlem Globetrotters start signing white players," until he was literally forced by John F. Kennedy, yes, that one, to do so, because it was embarrassing for the nation's Capitals team to be so racist, which, historically speaking, is an outrageously high bar to cross. So yeah, you pick which side you want to believe on that one.
Sure there was. They do it the same way today. They gather all the men together and then auction them off to the highest bidder.
Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected. No dignity left intact.
Okay, and then if you can't see this, there's a bunch of guys who are getting checked out at the combine with their shirts off. And then they walk out of the combine and into a graphic of them with chains on them being auctioned off as slaves.
Also, I think that there's some interesting similarities with the NFL draft. I heard Minister Farrakhan allude to this, and I agree with him. And so if you look at the NFL draft, the players are evaluated based on their physical attributes, right? They say, okay, look at how high he can jump. Look at how strong that Negro is. Look at how fast he can run, right? And so with slave auctions, same thing. They will put them up on a big block and look at how strong they were and look at how tall they were and what their age were. Look at their teeth and, stuff like that. And then come up with a conclusion like, okay, this Negro I'll pay this amount for, but this one I'll only pay that amount for because they're a little fatter or a little older or a little whatever, right? And so the NFL draft is interesting because not only are the assets, and remember, all these players are seen as assets. They are financial assets, similar to slavery. You have owners, just like you did in slavery. Most of those owners are white. Actually, all the NFL majority owners are white. I don't think there's not a black majority owner in the NFL, right? All the owners are white. Most of the great athletes are black, even though you have some whites in there as well, right? So it's not just a black white thing. It's just we tend to dominate on the athletic side. They dominate on the business ownership and economic side. And then also, if you know the life of an NFL athlete, it is one in which the owner that purchases the rights to you pretty much feels like he has control over your life. I don't know if anybody in here has played in the NFL or has had a sibling or spouse in the NFL. I remember talking to a student in the Black Business School who told me that her husband got drafted to the NFL. And it was when she was in college. She was a real pretty lady. And he left. He was good enough where he left college in his junior year to go play for the Seahawks. And like most NFL players, though, his career was very short. NFL players do not have long careers. The average NFL career is about two and a half years. So he was, and his was even shorter than that. I think he played for about a year. And then, did you say my brother, Junior Seau? Is Junior Seau your brother? Tell me, did somebody say that Junior Seau is their brother? First of all, Junior Seau was a bad boy. That was a great athlete. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Okay. Well then, all right. Well, first of all, my condolences because I heard how the story ended. And that actually takes us to our next point. But then at the same time, that's pretty awesome because he was a great player. But at the same time, thank you for mentioning that. There's that other point that I didn't get to yet, which is the significant health consequences that occur as a result of making that sacrifice of being an NFL player. So let me tell you. I'll tell you two separate stories. First of all, I'm still kind of stunned that Sibling and Junior say I was here, but yeah, again, much respect to you and your family. So this woman that married the NFL player, I remember she told me that she said, well, he got drafted and we moved to Seattle. I said, well, what was that like? She said, I hated it. I said, why did you hate it? She said, because they controlled every single ounce of his life. We couldn't, it seemed like we couldn't do anything. We never had time to do anything together. They control where we were allowed, where we were allowed to live and what we were able to do. And if they wanted us to jump, we had to say how high, because that was the only job that he could get in the NFL, because it wasn't like he could say, well, I'm mad, I'm going to go play for the Cowboys. You couldn't really, you had to get traded, right? Traded like an asset. You can't just you can't just do like, an employee at Google that says, I'm going to go work for Microsoft. You can do that. In the NFL, they have the rights to a monopoly, which allows them to control and restrain the supply and the cost of labor. And that sort of monopoly, or maybe it would be actually an oligopoly, or cartel. Cartel would be the better term to use. In a cartels are illegal in every other industry in America. Did y'all know that? The only couple of areas, there are just a few areas where cartels are allowed, and a couple are the NFL and the NCAA, right? And so effectively, imagine if you worked at Google and you say, I think I want to leave. I'm going to work for Apple. And imagine if Apple and Google were colluding, and Apple just agreed that they will never hire anybody from Google. Google will never hire anybody from Apple, and that they're all going to keep your salary at a certain price. That's sort of what the NFL is allowed to do, right? So anyway, she said that in the first season he got injured. Once he got injured, they put him on the sidelines. I think they cut him from the team. And so, like a lot of young guys who dedicate their entire lives to sports, because I think athletic ability is a gift and a curse to the black man. It's a gift because it's allowed a very small percentage of us to achieve the highest heights and rise to the highest levels of society. But it's a curse because it's such a valuable lottery ticket that you have millions of little boys that bet everything on that lottery ticket. They invest every nickel into that, every ounce of energy into that. They invest their soul into this dream of becoming an NFL or NBA player, and 99.9% of them never make a penny playing sports, right? So what this does is it creates this massive waste product, if you will. Not that these human beings are waste, but when I talk about a waste product, I'm talking about just a lot of young men who did not develop their skills in other areas. They became great at basketball or football, but they did not become great at reading. They did not become great at writing. They did not become great at math. They did not become great at entrepreneurship or other ways of making money. And then also, in some cases, like in the case of this woman's husband, he developed a lot of other bad habits that come with sports/hip hop culture. And one of the things that we don't confront enough in the black community is the toxic side of sports and hip hop culture. And what do I mean by that? Well, the other day I saw Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharp and Gilbert Arenas, three extraordinary former professional athletes who were commenting on why Amanda Seals is not married.
The brain you built in basketball and use it for business.
Yes, Lord.
I don't think he's been invited back, but he should be there every time, because all that is transmutation, is changing discipline. One of our impediments as a people is, number one, we celebrate athletics more than we do academics for our children. That's bad math. The other thing is we put our children in the sports, and so do white people. But white people put their children in sports to extract the principles from it. And we put our children in sports to become a professional at it. And whenever they go in and we go in, they too are in the little league. They too are in Pop Warner. They there. But because they're going in there to extract principles from it, if they don't make it to the NBA or the NFL, They take the sacrifice they learned, the discipline, the hard work, the working through fatigue, the teamwork, the categorization of personal life problems and still being able to perform a task, and they take that to their law firm or their insurance agency or their dental office, and they just take discipline over there with them and become great in that. But we got our mind wrapped up 100%. If I'm going to the league, I'm going to the league, I'm going to the league, I'm going to be in the NFL, I'm going to be, and if it don't happen, now you got a brother with a broken spirit. Right now, Brother Cam, there's 500,000 black boys playing high school basketball. Only 17,000 of them will actually make it to college to play basketball.
On a scholarship.
And on a scholarship. And out of them 17,000, only 44 of them will make it to the NBA. And out of the 44 that make it to the NBA, only 7 of them will get a starting position. And the average career of the one that did get a starting position is only 5 to 7 years. So there's 500,000 black boys competing for 7 full-time jobs that ain't gonna last for 7 years.
It's heavy.
I don't know, that's bass awkward. You ain't catch that.
Bass awkward.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
So we have to, what your brother's saying, he's telling you, but this is a universal message we all need to know.
No, for sure.
If you became proficient in any sport, you have a greater calling on your life, and you can take that discipline that you use and all the principles from it and go into anything and be a master of it. And if you find exactly, specifically what you're born to do, that's where happiness comes from.
Yeah.
You know.